Alright, I see myself on YouTube and the Twitch preview is actually going, although the bitrate isn't. So, hello everybody. I know it has been a while as from my last stream, which was Slay the Spire 2. I have been in a bit of a mood, I suppose is the best way to put it. For the past week, at the very least, I've wanted to stream, but just kind of felt no or very little desire to that would actually push me to hit the stream button. But I'm here now, and I honestly do miss streaming so much. I feel awful when I can't. Like, if I'm genuinely honest, I do like it. I enjoy it. I wish I could meet people to talk to, of course, but I know my little streams usually don't get anybody, but that's my own fault, if anything. Just because I'm not that big, and I'm not doing it consistently, I don't put out a schedule. There's a lot I could be doing, like all the shorts I want to make, but just have yet to actually put sort of pen to paper sort of deal. However, that's for another day as well, because like 4 days ago, Limbus Company put out an update, they put out a new event, so we're going to go over to that, because I really need to play it, if I'm being honest. I have held off of doing the actual event, just simply because I wanted to stream it, as well as, of course, stream the polls, because new Roja. I think you get a solo Roja banner. So, without further ado, we can get this event properly started, and I'm sure the stupid helicopter outside is being picked up. I'm very certain of it. I don't trust it. I don't trust my microphone. But I'm still gonna do it. Alright, looks like no streamer luck this one. Got 2 Merceaus, apparently. I don't have a... Okay, well, there's a gold. Did we get it? Is the real question. Let's do this slowly, get all the grays out of the way. There's a Roja. There's an Otis. Honglu. Another Honglu. Another Roja. Another Hong... There's so many Honglus here. Up there's a little Roja. Ryoshu. Happy Yisong. And is this the gold I want? Nope, we got another Faust. Hey Bianca, it's so good to see you. Glad to finally catch one of these. I know it has been a while. I have honestly missed doing this, streaming, of course. So it's good to be back. It's not good to pull another ring Faust. So I've got 2 more pulls, I think. Come on. The minnest of rolls. Last one. And it's not looking good. Alright. No Roja, no Wolf Girl Roja, unfortunately. Unless I get the currency in the event and whatnot. Which, speaking of the event, let's actually get it properly underway. The twinning threads. Or twining threads, I suppose. I have been spoiled a little bit on this, unfortunately, because I've waited so long. My own fault. But let's go. Starting with Funeral. A funeral was held for Martin and the LCE researchers today. I thought I'd seen more than my fair share of deaths throughout my journey with the sinners. but never before had I witnessed this many people gather in one place to mourn the deceased together. The unfamiliarity made me feel a bit out of place. Am I doing this right? Most of the sinners seemed to be feeling that similar sense of being out of their element as well. Some of them were asking Merceau, apparently the most knowledgeable of them all when it came to the funeral process and etiquette, all manner of questions for pointers. Expressing respect is the primary purpose. Hand placement and gesture are unimportant if that objective can be accomplished. Hey, where do I put this? Beneath the third pillar to the right. Can't any of you quit chattering for 1 second? Have you all forgotten the instruction to carry yourselves with solemn propriety that befits the occasion? Cut me some slack. I haven't been to funerals all that much. I mean, I did tell you to read them. Of course, you're harping on the manual still. I even underlined all the important parts for you. Good note-taking. Sorry, Issue. The wall of text was just too much for me. My focus started fizzling out from page 30 onwards. I'm sure that's a joke at all the reading that's been necessary for all the previous cantos and stuff. Because sometimes there just is so much writing. Hadn't every sinner here attended a funeral before? Back when we set foot in that grim manor in T-Corp? Well, that was kind of different. That was like a whole event for, like, a will reading, not like a funeral procession of all the soldiers who died in a war kind of thing. Ah, thou speakest of the funeral held in young Heathcliff's manor, dost thou not? The one bereft of the dead? Bereft of the dead? I mean, someone had to have died because there wouldn't have been a property dispute big enough to involve the Ophi Association's notarization otherwise. I've said this time and time again, but it was just an intentional anonymity to prevent family strife. Intentional anonymity, is it? If the situation was indeed as thou sayest, then there was no helping it, forsooth. Yet 'tis a pity that the dead wasn't named at their own funeral. The name of the deceased was... It was Catherine's funeral. She was very dear to Heathcliff. I have thoroughly reviewed the past 5 years' worth of local newspapers pertaining to the matter, yet no such name relevant to the case was identified, manager. God, poor Heathcliff. His lovers just erased from every timeline. Only he and us remember. Yep, it's fine, Clockhead. At least you remember. That's good enough, isn't it? It had to be the Golden Bow's influence. Somewhere along the way, everyone's memories of the event at Wuthering Heights had become warped. Again, my microphone is being picked up. I'm having to sit a bit closer just in case, because I actually did review a few streams, and I felt I was like a little bit too quiet. I will also turn up the music here. Okay, there is some BGM. The sinners seemed to think that the Golden Bow had always been there in that manner, and that Nellie was coaxed into stealing it by Herman. Linton, in their minds, was now a grieving brother who had been conducting research for his dead sister's sake. Nobody questioned it. Not Don Quixote, not Faust. Every single sinner believed the twisted version of the memory as if it was a proven fact. Heathcliff and I gave up trying to correct them. Instead, we did just check in on each other's memories every now and then. Because if there's something that he and I realized, it was that anything tied to Catherine had already been painted over. Every detail gilded and glossed over with the glow of the bow. Also, hope you're doing well, Bianca. Not sure if I said that already. The point is, how should I put this? The circumstances of that funeral didn't exactly leave us much room to properly express our condolences back then. Between Heathcliff running on a rampage and that Hindley guy bent on interfering with the execution of the will. I assumed that sort of impediment was pretty common stuff for funerals, but apparently not, huh? No, well, I think it's actually rare to see a place that follows proper funeral procedures. I've traveled around quite a bit myself, but I can't confidently say that I've ever been to a legitimate funeral. The one at Wuthering Heights was one of the more proper funerals, if only for pretending to have a process. They at least prepared a coffin and even had a formal reading of the will. It seems funerals are far from being an everyday custom in the city. Funerals are considered a rather extravagant practice here as well. Corporations are not eager to grant time-offs just because an irrelevant someone has died, and the price of real estate seldom makes it viable to buy land and erect memorial houses on it. Jeez. Then, what other options do people usually have? We used to just leave them where they died, and after one night's sleep, the bodies were gone, just like that. Better than paying loads of money to bury them somewhere just to have that stir up a load of daft rumors, eh? Rumors? You know, rumors about there being valuables buried with the bodies, or an arm being some fancy prosthesis, all that rot. Oh good, grave robbers. I never read Wuthering Heights, but from what I heard, it seems like it's going to be an effed up novel. It is a very tragic novel, from what I know. I haven't read it. The latest movie is probably not the best rendition of it. And unfortunately, there aren't a whole lot of good versions of the film, simply because one present detail, as you can kind of see here, is that Heathcliff himself is actually darker skinned than the average Brit. And that's actually like a key factor. He is described as kind of Romani slash like born from gypsies kind of deal. And then like that is part of like why he's ostracized by the family he is, I think, like adopted into. If Limbus Company is anything to go off of for some details. Better to let the dead go in peace than to bury them in a grave just for some sods to later desecrate it. In Hung Yuan, people tend to set up graves if they have enough room to spare. Of course, there wasn't a guarantee they wouldn't lose the burial room by the next restructuring day. God, that's also horrible. Hohenheim scoffed and hung his head. Otiose foolishness, all of it. Comforting the soul of the departed, another mendacity. All those funds so carelessly squandered, all for the purpose of furnishing the living with a fragile excuse to cling on. Are those words from his heart, or just something said to convince himself? Whichever was the truth, I couldn't see the look on his face with his head tucked so low. The funeral didn't last long. It was just a brief moment of silence, followed by a few quick goodbyes that were shorter still. The ceremony came to a close once Alyssa, who was still in recovery, came to pay her final respects. The flames devoured the coffins of Martin and the other researchers, announcing the end of their existence with the crackle of firewood. So, I suppose you'll be leaving now. Oh. We're staying until Gregor's stable enough to travel. Dante says we'll remain here until Gregor's condition settles. Gregor came to his senses again a few days after his unforeseen metamorphosis in the battle against the Thumb Nurse Father. He was given a checkup, and Hohenheim said there is no cause for concern. Physically, that is. The psychological assessment turned up disastrous, to say the least. Gregor was declared unfit for combat deployment for the time being. So, you won't be leaving just yet. Good to know. Then I assume you'll be okay with us borrowing Sinclair for a while. Me? Yes, you. The LCU wants to look into the sign you manifested, Sinclair. The higher-ups didn't waste a second to greenlighting the project. Which means what I'm telling you is more a notice of investigation than a request for permission. What investigation? What are you... It's just a rather rudimentary instance of human experimentation. Calm yourself. Yeah, it's just, just normal. Just human experimentation. Wolf Girl Stream. Hello, Matt. Good to see you. Got my two best friends here, Bianca and Matt. One on Twitch, one on YouTube. Just as it should be. Human experimentation? Did you really have to put it like that, boss? Not to worry, Sinclair. A swipe or two on your skin and maybe some talk therapy, and that's all there is to it. Of course, if we had your consent. The avenues of research could be vastly... Oh, poor Sinclair. For your reference, the other departments have also submitted some quite enthusiastic requests for research and observational purposes. Oh, you have no idea. We had to get Boss to fend off the LCA's Mirror World Observatorium department and their hissy fits. They wanted to be the first ones to get their hands on you and spearhead the research, you see. And had we allowed them, they'd have kept you for a good few months before letting you go. So the least you could do to thank us is be a good boy and cooperate. Just in time. Our researchers are here. Alyssa waved at the researchers who were filing out of the funeral hall after paying their respects. It wasn't long before Sinclair found himself surrounded on all sides. It was nice knowing you, Sinclair. Wait, I'm perfectly capable of walking there on my own, so just don't run any painful tests on me. Of course, of course. Stay strong, Sinclair. Stay strong. All I could do was to offer an unspoken encouragement to Sinclair, who sounded ready to collapse into full-blown panic any minute. I already miss a certain Sinclair. Come on. Just channel him, Sinclair. You got this. What about you? You not going with him? Oh, it's back to the long-term recovery ward for me. I always thought scientific research was the one thing that flamed my passion, but with the recent events having introduced me to the merits of paid sick leave, I realized that time off beats research projects in my book. Marginally. How does PTO barely beat out the other actual research? Jeez. Enjoy it while it lasts. I highly suspect that every request for PTO submitted by our department will be rejected for the rest of the year. Jeez. Oh, these corporations / research groups suck. Well, it's true your average corporation doesn't give more than a week off a year. As soon as Alyssa trudged off with her dragging steps, the researchers seized Sinclair and carried him away. Alright, we should get going too. Oh, do you all have somewhere else to be? Well, I thought I'd go visit Gregor. I'm worried about him. Aw. Nice, Honglu. Got something I said I'd help with. Gotta be there for it. I'm going with Sinclair to get some rest. But I don't think that's where Sinclair's going. Also to keep an eye on the researchers and stop them if they try anything fishy with the experiments. Aw. What do you mean 4 viewers on Twitch? Where did you people come from? What's going on? I just see 4 4 viewers there now. I'm worried it's bots, but oh well. Hello, if any of you can actually hear me. Let me know if you need anything, Dante. Kai, it's just you, Kai. But also, hello, Kai. Good to see you again. I know it's been a while since I've streamed, but not a while since we last talked. And no, you're not a bot, and you're no longer a possible harasser either. Congratulations. I'll never forget that, though. You guys can't hear me, right? I just need to absolutely make sure I can be heard. I see the mic going. I just need to know for my own sanity, really. I may possibly be a bot harasser. Alright, good, so it sounds like you can hear me. I am a confirmed harasser, Matt. Great, and I'm gonna get double teamed by you two. The sinners fanned out in different directions. They seem to have their own errands to run during our stay at the LCE. Everyone's busy with their own thing. Hey, Faust, where are you? Oh, hey, Ryoshu. The only ones keeping me company now were Ryoshu, who'd been filling the air around thick with cigarette smoke, and Don Quixote, who was sniffing and asking around at every corner for Vespa in a valiant quest for the new color fixer's whereabouts. Yeah, that sounds like her. You mean possibly double-teamed? No, I'm certainly double-teamed. Faust was still here too, staring blankly into the air. Is she accessing the Gazelle shaft? She's in the Discord now. You seem to have some time to spare, manager. As I stood there, wondering what I should do next to pass the time, Hohenheim, who had apparently finished tackling and signing the stack of papers, walked over to me. This makes things rather convenient. There is something I had intended to discuss with you and Sinner Ryoshu, a matter that requires your assistance. What kind of assistance? You don't know that. No, I'm pretty sure I know that, Kai. If not from you, definitely from Matt. What kind of assistance, says Clockhead? Wait a minute, did you actually just step in as my interpreter? It's not that I don't appreciate her gesture, especially since she'd usually snap at me and tell me to find someone else to interpret whenever the issue came up. But I can't help but doubt whether her choice method of interpretation actually accomplishes anything. There is, I must admit, a certain novelty in witnessing the reconstitution of that which requires interpretation into yet another linguistic form equally demanding of it. Oh great, we have someone who shortens and someone who speaks so long. Grand. Their battle will be legendary. It would seem we are in need of more manpower. Scratching his head, Hohenheim looked around for a moment before coming to a sudden pause, as though an idea had crossed his mind. At the end of his gaze was a certain someone who was busy badgering LCCA employees with her relentless questioning. Of course. Who else, pray, might know where he is, if thou knowest not? Now listen closely. The one I seek is a bearer of hair fashioned in the likeness of a bull. You there, why don't you join us too? Dost thou speak of me? How were you able to interpret Ryoshu? I mean, it was pretty obvious. 1, CH is definitely Clockhead, and 2, she was just repeating what we had asked. The LCCA personnel who were cornered by Don Quixote in her rather forceful interrogation. What, was she, like, cabedoning them, practically? Jeez. Regarding Vespa's whereabouts, took the opportunity and fled the scene without so much as a backward glance the moment their captor turned her head to answer Hohenheim. Indeed, there is a task that requires your assistance. But I have yet more words to trade with the most noble Yellow Harpoon. You seek to emulate the virtue of chivalry. Does that entail turning down the earnest plea of those in need? For the sake of clarity and distinction, it would be prudent to assign you a different identifier from that of my assistant. You are to be number 2. That is assistant number 2. I have not yet concluded mine exchange with the Yellow Harpoon, but no true knight would abandon those who call for aid. Pray, speak thy quest. How may I be of service to thee? Delegating the interpretation of the manager's speech to Center Number 4 has proven to be counterproductive. As such, your task will be to report to me what the manager says. Oh, great. So we have the person who speaks too short and the person who speaks in the past talking to a guy who uses so many words. Incredible. I mean, at the very least, she can still be deciphered, but what an interesting cast. Oh, that is indeed a simple task. However, this WKOA eludeth mine understanding as well. Prithee, allow me but a little time to uncover its mystery. Relay the manager's words, not Sinner Ryoshu's. They are asking you what kind of assistance you need. The request for interpretation was not directed to you, but I cannot deny that your meddling in the present circumstance is a welcome one. It was simply that the irrationality and inefficiency of your suboptimal staffing choice and workflow have become sufficiently unbearable. Incredible. Now the Gazelle shaft is trying to body Hohenheim. Faust hopes this was not some guileful scheme devised to elicit Faust's cooperation. In any case, manager, this request of mine concerns an investigation into the back doors located in the House of Spiders. I deemed that the two of you should be the ones most familiar with the structure and layout of the house. After all, you were the one monitoring the entirety of the five-pronged assault operation, and Sinner number 4's familiarity does not bear repeating. Do we go to the House of Spiders right away? House of Spiders right away? Oh, I see that little smirk on you. You have assisted enough. Perhaps you could help Faust. Sure. Although not word for word, Faust relayed my intention to Hohenheim, who responded by shaking his head. Not immediately, no. There is one more member you should bring along. Seeing me tilting my head, Hohenheim pushed up his glasses. The apprentice who was captured alive in the House of Spiders. Kira. She has regained consciousness. I mean, yeah, that is like the only survivor of any of them, which is still amazing given what befell her. Which was only the betrayal of... I'm gonna say Ricardo, but I know it's not Ricardo. The place Hohenheim led us to looked less like a recovery ward and more like an interrogation chamber. I like that chair, though. Though every single medical equipment installed around seemed to be state-of-the-art. This place looks well-equipped. Probably a direct order from upper management. Although technologies to restore lost body parts are common enough in the city, a facility of this kind is required to preserve the original form of her lower body in the reconstruction process while keeping the cost reasonable. Reasonable, huh? Do I want to ask how expensive the other options are if this counts as reasonable? Matthias, thank you. It's a white room. Yeah, it's got some nice padding over here, a nice observation window, cool chair and desk, little ventilation, I think. Matthias. Yeah, Matt, you betrayed Kira. A windowless room thick with the sharp scent of medicine and chemicals. Okay, is this a mirror then, if you're saying it's windowless? Kira was sitting on the bed at the center of the room. Unless you mean mirror as in, like, not seeing outside, but, like, this still is here. Unless again, that isn't a window, per se. Kira was sitting on the bed at the center of the room, kicking her feet as she regarded us. Jeez. Tummy line. For someone recovering from bisection, she didn't look much different from how she'd appeared when I'd seen her through the Sinner's shared vision. She was captured alive for the extraction of information, yes. How far along is the progress of the extraction? It hasn't yet begun, actually. We're waiting until the lines of information that warrant questioning can be isolated. So far, all available personnel have been fully engaged in analyzing the documents and items discovered in the House of Spiders. Then what's she even doing here? There is work to be done, contingent upon information obtainable only from a recent inhabitant of the House of Spiders. And following a discussion with the upper management, I have decided to put you to use as the company had originally intended. What kind of reverse curse technique was used on her? Who knows, honestly. She's so hot. You're gonna get bonked, Matt. No TV, no comic books, just a super prickly glare and a cold shoulder whenever I ask for something to pass the time. And now, you suddenly need my help, huh? Give me one reason I should cooperate. Hohenheim didn't so much as twitch an eyebrow at Kira's biting tone. He merely gave her a nod with a steely, imperturbable expression. He said what I wanted to say. I didn't ask for your help. Put you to use, I believe, is what I said. What? Your survival is not incidental. It is a result of a calculation. The company anticipates a potential profit by keeping you alive. Expected gain, as the term goes. Without such a forecast on the company's part, you would have already been disposed of. The upper management consists of people who would be disinclined to tolerate the daily maintenance and depreciation costs of this room, even at half their current members. Which brings us to our next point. Should you insist on maintaining this uncooperative attitude, the company may decide to convene a meeting to reassess your worth, or shall we say, lack thereof, in its projected income statement. But darn it, she's literally Brain Rot Girlfriend with lessened hardened scale. I have forgotten about Brain Rot Girlfriend. That is such a, memory to pull. Because, it popped off when it came out, and then I feel like it kind of faded. Or, at the very least, it faded from me. Well, suffice to say that such a reassessment would skew heavily against your favor. The outcome would be a recommendation for immediate disposal. Hohenheim always had a way with words that could prickle and sting. But with Kira, it almost felt as if he'd traded the usual thorn off for a sharper knife, intent on twisting it right where it hurt. I'm dead meat as soon as my usefulness runs out anyway. It's not like you're gonna let me live, not after I killed a bazillion of your guys. So you anticipated some form of a corporate-level retaliatory response against your person. That is indeed a curious line of reasoning. Then I must tell you that, unlike your typical backstreet syndicate such as the Middle, corporate entities of the city tend to avoid choices that may incur losses. I think the creator just moved on from other things, but I got her in Mude. Nice. And probably. It was probably one of those things that just, blew up. I'll say I'm gonna do a log just in case. Okay. Okay, now I actually do need to go to the log. The value of the information that could be extracted from an apprentice of the Middle, and the combat prowess honed under the tutelage of a great brother of the Middle, these two considerations are likely what increased your value in the eyes of the company. Y'all got zero self-respect, huh? You should consider yourself fortunate. Huh? The heck are you on about? Other companies would not solicit your cooperation by means of a verbal exchange. Your interrogator would simply open your cranium, harvest your brain, and extract any and all necessary information without going through intermediary steps such as this. Even without resorting to such methods, the range of available means to compel the disclosure of information is practically limitless. Truth serums, hypnotic suggestions, electrical shocks and stimulations, and of course, procedures utilizing distortions and abnormalities. That being said, the LCE department prefers to distance itself from such uncivilized approaches that may entail complications and after effects. Also, I'm going to go back a little bit. I am actually going to reveal one thing about myself, and that's I've honestly always wanted to try to be hypnotized. It just sounds like such an interesting experience, and one day I hope I can be put under it. It's so weird, I know, but there's just something to it. Maybe it's because of all the media I've seen where it's used in different ways that are interesting narratively, and sometimes that aren't, and sometimes that are just fan service, but there's just a part of my brain that it itches. I do hope that we share a similar predilection. You're so frickin' annoying, you know that, mister? The feeling is entirely mutual. Leaving the biting chill of his threats to sink in, Hohenheim turned toward the exit. Give her some push and bring her along. I don't quite seem to be myself today. No, disregard that. That, too, is a rather foolish thing to say. Aw. Hypnotized Molly. You can be hypnotized via keys jangling. No, I can't. I'm not that easy, okay? Come on, give me some slack. Hypnotized would be kind of scary. Like, someone could possibly use it to make you do something humiliating while you were under the control of the person hypnotizing you. So, interestingly enough, I know over the years, people have, like, actually gone into and shared more about hypnosis. And one thing that I commonly hear is that hypnosis is still entirely a thing you control. While you're hypnotized, you will not do things that you would not already think about doing, apparently. So there is a limit to what can happen. However, that is just hearsay. 2 keys jingling. If anything, my real trigger will just be putting a collar on me. If I'm gonna be honest, it's gonna be the collar. I will defer this matter to you, manager. Work of this sort likely falls more within your capabilities than my own. Nice slide. And with that, Hohenheim stepped out of the room, leaving me to deal with Kira. There are actually videos on YouTube that supposedly are meant to hypnotize you. Or hanging belt, actually, maybe. God, the hanging belt. That was such a peak design of yours. But also, yes, I am aware of the fact that there are videos that do sort of hypnosis, supposedly. And I may or may not have tried it. But I don't think it worked, unfortunately. But anyways, his reaction was understandable. The LCE had only just finished laying its dead researchers to rest. Kira was probably the last person anyone would want to face right now, much less speak to. What should I even say to persuade her? I was so caught in thought when someone, quite unexpectedly, made her way to Kira. Yoshihide? You. Heard you got stabbed in the back by Matthias. That's not true. Papa wasn't landing a fatal blow unless he cut through me too. That's why he did exactly that, to aim for the enemy's head. Besides, he made the right choice. A little sacrifice ain't a thing in a family. You went feral with my hanging belt and my ref sheet, to which I did not know you loved. Look, it was just really cool. Unfortunately, crazy work. Family coming from him, a middle mutt thrown out of his kennel. Doesn't it sound ridiculous even to you? That's thrown out. My angel dust plushie came a few days ago. Nice! I hope you take a good care of it. That fucker Matthias was a GB, only by technicality. He fucked up badly. He was still family by name, but underneath it, everyone hoped he'd disappear quietly on his own. He was that family member nobody wanted around. Same treatment for me, being his brat. Not surprising it's the ST for the bowl cut, too. My brain says same story, but that would be SS and not ST. Small sacrifice of getting Gojo'd is small. What does he consider small? Who knows? Oh, okay. Same tastes? Oh, young Ryoshu, could it be that thou also dost harbor a passionate zeal for I quickly clapped a hand over Don Quixote's mouth as she smoothly chimed into the conversation. So what exactly is your point? The point is you're taking too long. If you can't decide whether you want to live or die, I can shorten the hesitation. CQ, or I'll sink right this instant. Which, I know that's slit your neck clean. Oh, I guess CQ is supposed to be come quietly. What does that mean? Oh, okay. Cooperate quietly, or I'll snap your neck completely right this instant. Jeez, why do you have to have that grin on you, Ryoshu? Come on. Sync isn't such a bad way to go if you're keen on taking that loyalty act straight to the grave. This is so crappy. Whatever, I get it, okay? I'll talk if that's what you want so bad. That actually worked? Fixers who go out in a blaze of glory aren't actually the strong ones. It's the ones who survive, the ones who live to see another day and keep getting stronger. Anyway, Yoshihide, what's up with you talking in weird-ass abbreviations? Like, SYNC, that's so random. Who even says that? Ryosha didn't bother to reply and simply chewed on the mouth end of her cigarette. But is this really the right call? To her, we're probably people she needs to settle the score with. As if. You questioning that face from Ryosha. Look, sometimes she goes too far, I think. Half her tattoos are gone, clock. They even confiscated her book. You think the middle sorry excuse for loyalty means so much for the stray that she'd bite us? Besides... No, better hear it from her instead. Hey, tell me why Nathias kicked the bucket. That's 'cause... well, 'cause Papa was weaker than y'all. Yeah, you're the jerk's brat, alright. Kira pushed herself up from the bed with a sour face, but at least she didn't argue back. And I am going to really quickly check my blood sugar, because I can feel it getting low. It was low before, but I just need to make sure it's finer. So you're gonna hear some stuff. And unfortunately, I have no control over how much is heard. I mean, technically I am, but I'm just kind of lazy with it right now. A lancet, dang. Yeah. Because before stream it was like 95. And I can kind of taste it. Yeah, it's 65 now. Alright. What are we having? I'll leave up to you guys. Am I going for gummies? Am I going for, you know, quick soda / orange juice? Or ice cream? Wanted to make a poll. How can I make a poll? There should be something, right? Or am I just not allowed that yet? I might just not be allowed it. Soda, ice cream, I am not making all of that. I need something kinda quick. And just one thing I can focus on. Otherwise, I'm gonna, I guess, roll a die for it. Because, like, even though it's 65, 65 is still good enough for me that I can quickly get my thing. Soda pop, my little soda, alright. Now the Molly is gone. Revolution. It's one dollar gotcha on a Hongaloo. You will not ever make me spend it on a Hongaloo. That's for certain. But for all of you, that's for your revolution. and we called Hohenheim, who'd been waiting outside, back in. I assumed the prisoner was successfully persuaded. Gonna move my chair a bit closer. Molly Far Cry 7 villain confirmed. So true. Come, you will find your weapon on the table. You may use it in the event of an emergency. What the hell? I can't even unsheath it. You won't be able to use it without authorization. The code has been slightly adjusted. Now then, let us head to the House of Spiders at once. The back door is up and waiting for us. Kira's pull-out game is weak. Incredible thing to say. We made our way to the House of Spiders, with Kira trailing behind us, looking like she was smelling something particularly fishy on us. I see I still can't deploy, Gregor. Cool. That was Ishmael. It's what? Orange and gloom? If gloom works, this is fine. It's also, I don't have much in the way of bludgeoning, so I'm just gonna have to roll with color. Oh, back here already. I see they just put cloths over everything. And also crime scene, quote-unquote, tape. Only a few days had passed since our last visit, but the place looked markedly different from what we remembered. The sight of the hollow, frigid atmosphere and the endless stretch of corridors hadn't changed. But Callisto's so-called artworks were now covered in white sheets, and unfamiliar devices were affixed all around the back doors. Prithee, who might those people thither be? Yep, there it is. The walking, talking... Is this where the artists are at? This is where the artists are at. But it's the walking, talking Kane Pixels reference. Looks like some shady bastards moved in already. Our guarded reaction prompted Hohenheim to step forward and gestured to one of the oddly dressed figures. It seems introductions are in order for both sides. This is Team Leader Alan from Wayfarer Company, who will be working with us on the investigation into the house's back doors. Wayfarer Company? A corporate entity partnered with Limbus Company, responsible for providing portal technology. It has, on prior occasion, been referred to as the new or aspirant W Corp, though the name is an unofficial one. Like in make art 2 destroys fourth walls. I call it breaking the fourth wall. Nice. Good art, Kai. Our employees have also taken to calling you the new L Corp, something we have in common, given that we're both chasing after the same horizon. I remember. That company vying to take W Corp's place, right? The same horizon. He's probably talking about getting recognized as a wing. After all, the old L Corp has already fallen, while W Corp, from what I've heard, is free-falling at this point. And these are the manager and sinners of the LCB department, our field operations unit, frequently deployed to deal with on-site matters firsthand. They have more personnel, but the rest are tied up with other duties elsewhere. Only a handful will be joining this investigation effort. I understand. Field operation units are almost always understaffed anyway. The support you've provided is more than sufficient. Angelus Plushie says hi, Molly. Only the cool kids watch the stream. So true, Bianca. Making you one of the cool kids. Also, geez, your head is so much smaller when, this is just a very bulky suit. Alan giving an understanding nod. The man slipped off his bulky helmet before extending his hand in greeting. Pleased to make your acquaintance. The name's Alan, leader of Door Breach Team 4. Likewise. Before Faust could even relay my reciprocal greeting, words spilled out of Alan's mouth in a strangely uneven rhythm, as if my ticking didn't bother him at all, like he was sticking to a script he had rehearsed. I've heard great things about you, Manager Dante of Limbus Company, and the bus team's performance. Alan, are you a cow? I don't think he is. You capitalized on the suppression of distortions at T-Corp as leverage to push your products, and the profits were nothing short of staggering, I heard. Oh yeah, we're supposed to be distortion resolving specialists to the public, but what's that product part about? The manager says it was merely a matter of luck. They also look forward to working with you on this task. Oh, were you the interpreter? In that case, I'll be sure to consult the manager only when both of you are available. Sure. Poor Faust. Faust didn't seem particularly pleased with the role Alan had pinned on her, but she nodded anyway. She quietly came to my side and answered my earlier question while Alan carried on with Hohenheim. He is referring to the Monolith sales project. The credit was attributed to the LCB at the express request of Master Hubert, T-Corp's executive director. Asdef movie reference? Oh, okay. There are too many Asdef movies, honestly. I love and enjoy all of them, but I cannot remember a whole lot from specific ones. There's way too many there's just way too many funny jokes in them, to be fair. Oh, so that's how the rumor spread, huh? We've reviewed the agreement. Now, I understand you'll be assisting in verifying what lies beyond the back doors. I'd appreciate it if you could share any prior knowledge you have about where these back doors connect, as detailed as you can make them, if you don't mind. Hohenheim fixed Kira with a pointed look. Though Kira responded by defiantly cocking her head in a show of irritation, she still gave up a sliver of information she had. Honestly, I've got pretty much nothing if it's about Robo-Unk in his room. Are you kidding? I don't understand Unk as a term, but I will forever hate it. I mean, I've seen Albina hit up that door and the other one over there when she was popping out to farm stuff, but... Farm? Oh, it's a gather material. I see. What kind of material? Human guts and all that. She come back hauling piles of them. Then you're an ant. That's very fair, honestly. I don't care about Unk. Even saying it, I hate it. So they're probably connected to some backstreets area. The backstreets? Any more details? Can you stop prying? You're low-key pissing me off. Incredible. Already shadow casting. What? It's literally all I've got, for real. For a moment, Alan leveled Kira with a stiff expression. Jeez. And even before I could register what had happened, Kira's head jerked to the side from a sudden punch by Alan. I thought Kira was nimble enough to dodge a surprise attack easily, but this one seemed to have caught her completely off guard. She stood there blinking, eyes around in rude surprise. I say low-key a lot. Low-key, that's kinda cringe, Kai. But that's fine, I forgive you. Because at the very least, low-key is a much more, like, useful thing to say. Instead of just Unk, which is like a title, but like you have to understand. I'm a Alan, you Molly. You bully. Actually, it wasn't that he caught her off guard. It was the motion of the punch itself that somehow felt off. The fist being raised, the arm being extended, the blow making contact. The chain of actions was there, but it just didn't look normal. Did you just hit me? What the hell's wrong with... As Kira reeled from the unexpected strike, Don Quixote spoke up in a cold, sharp tone. Thou, what manner of discourtesy is this? With all that whining, I thought the brat could use a lesson to remind her of her place. I had no intention of damaging your company asset, of course. I simply assumed the level of warning would not be inappropriate in this case. Jeez. Team Leader Alan. That sort of conduct may not be an issue in your organization, but it is here. Should it happen again, do you understand that we may choose to terminate today's joint engagement without delay? My apologies. I'll keep that in mind going forward. Alan stood down without arguing back, but Kira looked far from satisfied with how Hohenheim handled the situation. He gets to sock me in the face and walk off scot-free. So frickin' annoying. Fortunately enough, her grumbling didn't escalate into her lashing out at Alan. That punch just now, though, what was that? It exhibited a behavior that defied the standard laws of physics. Presumably a form of technology utilized by Wayfarer Company. Let us resume the task at hand. Ryoshu, give Manager Alan whatever information you have. That door should lead to one of the ring-protected turfs. The other two on the left, I remember they were marked with an X painted with blood. But I have no idea where they actually led. It's all blurry. It seems that's all the information we can provide. Will that suffice? We now know that the doors likely connect to a perceivable area. That's already a big improvement in terms of intel for Wayfarer Company's backdoor mapping progress. Which means there's less chance of us encountering a space beyond human perception past those doors. Alright then, I'll proceed with connection verification. Which door shall we test first? We'll start with the one Ryoshu mentioned. You don't trust me at all, huh? Then why even bring me along? Ignoring Kira's jab, Alan began setting up various devices on the door, and soon an elegant white door opened before us. Shall we? Art thou joining us as well, young Hohenheim? Just this once. There are procedures for handing over field operations. Let's see. What the heck is this? Also, hi, I do see you, pallid whale. The horror abomination thing. Also, what, crocodile? There's just a human hand there. There's a bear claw. That's, what, a wolf and a deer with, like, the tusks of a boar or something? No clue what you are. There's a gorilla, I think a snake. The skull of, like, a mammoth or something. The moment we stepped in, the lights hit us all at once, drawing squints and frowns from the sinners. Thanks to my lack of physical eyes, I could make out a room filled with statues, or perhaps taxidermied animals. It felt like a gallery of sorts, but it was so quiet that the air itself seemed to carry a strange, somber weight. After a moment, someone shattered the silence. But it wasn't Don Quixote, our usual suspect. Holy shit, the scale is just insane! That's the Whale from Aid Association Great Lakes special issue! Kira, who seemed beaten down all along, exclaimed with a bit more energy in her voice. She gets to fangirl. Nice. Man, seeing it in real life sure hits different. And the Indigo Elder solo one-shots these monsters with that harpoon of his, huh? Yeah, that's what happened. It's a Great Lake whale. Doesn't look like one we've encountered, though. Organisms of various sources can be identified here. Singularity modified, outskirts born. They look almost alive. They're not, right? No, they're not, duh. Though Robo-Unk did say that the ring had these zoos where they put monsters on display alive. Man, this would have been way more fun if we could see the moving ones. Everything here's dead. Meh. Still looks crazy sick, though. The vibe really hits. Even though she was trying to play it cool, Kira kept sneaking glances at the massive horn display off to the side, clearly surprised in a way she couldn't hide. Aww. That said, I felt a distinct shortage of hyperactivity given the presence of a certain someone in our party. Don Quixote? The eye of a second kindred of House Tepes. What is it doing here? Hi, Vlad the Impaler. At the mention of the word kindred, I couldn't help but follow Don Quixote's gaze. Oh, is it that thing? Yep. Opposite the wheel was another kind of exhibit. It contained items leading on the most gruesome side of things. Starting with a crimson eyeball that caught Don Quixote's attention, and body parts like hands and bones that looked as though they had been stripped from the human body, which I assume is that. It's a gallery of the school of Fauvism, probably a main studio at that, which comes with the maestro's atelier in an auction house. Alan, we'll be making our exit shortly. Prepare to initiate lockdown sequence. Before Hohenheim could even finish his urgent transmission, numerous footsteps closed in from somewhere nearby. Oh, jeez. Terrifying. Turning to the sound of shoes clacking on the floor, we found strange figures wearing animal masks staring directly at us. That presence, that's kind of like Papa's. Ain't no way, that's not a raid boss we can clear at our level. We gotta get out of here. It's not that simple. Retreating is not a viable solution here. The door is connected to the House of Spiders. Escaping without installing a security system will invite pursuit. Hey, look, Molly, it's your people. These are not my people, and they never will be my people. We must stall them until Alan is ready to initiate the lockdown sequence. Because, like, this is not... It's not me at all. It's not cute either. It's just horrifying, cultish stuff. As tension thickened, one of the strangers who wore peculiar bone mask stepped forward. Shoot. The voice that spoke to us carried equal part curiosity and delight. You came through that door? Then the house's fall wasn't just a baseless rumor. A stray little spiderling fallen from her parents' web. How many years has it been? You. Who are you? Right. It makes sense that you would fail to recognize me. I used to wear a different mask back when I used to visit as your tutor, didn't I? A wolf, if memory serves right. Yes, that must have been when I was quite captivated by the sensation of tearing into the raw, still thrashing flesh of living prey, and the predator's ferocious, yet cavernously resonant howling. I was also talking about... See, your eyes glowed before turning angry. I was also talking about the pelt coat, and, big coat, the pelt coat is fine, I suppose. It's got so much to it, though. Rings a bell. You're that maestro whose whole lesson was a 3-hour sermon praising the intensity of primary colors and the strength of living creatures. Benoit, was it? That's right. Emile Benoit. And they say you can't hatch a phoenix from a chicken's egg. Doesn't always apply, I see. Looks like that mind of yours is still sly as a raven, unlike your nurse fathers. Don't presume. I only remember you because the tactility of hides and guts made for a passable AW. I have no clue what that is. At first glance, it looked like Ryoshi was casually taking a trip down memory lane with the maestro. But I had a feeling she was in fact dragging this out on purpose to buy us time. That lockdown sequence thing, how much longer till it's ready? Young Hohenheim, the lockdown sequence. Don Quixote, who had been shooting the ring members in incensed glare sparked by the discovery of a kindred eye, swiftly relayed my words to Hohenheim without even a hint of her earlier shenanigans. I'm afraid the progress and speed of the lockdown sequence lies in Alan's hands, not mine. It is by its nature a time-consuming work. We cannot expect haste. Perhaps that does make this a suitable juncture to trial Plan A. Plan A? Any suggestions that involve Don Quixote removing her shoes will not be dignified with a serious discussion. Instead, maybe what Hohenheim had in mind had nothing to do with Don Quixote's shoes, because he opened his mouth as though he was about to retort to Faust's categorical rejection. But the moment he followed Faust's eyes and saw what she was looking at, he quietly shut his mouth and said nothing further. Faith and potentiality is not something I dislike. As for this, however, this seems more like grasping at straws. At the end of their gaze was Ryoshi's blade, Arayashiki. Of course, we're gonna try and pull it out. I was going to try using it anyway. I've long wanted to see if Maestro's death is any different. Telling him that we were just leaving won't work, will it? No, it won't. Every individual present here would be quite the fascinating specimen to the artists of the ring. We are practically a windfall of inspiration and material that has so conveniently been delivered to them. Is it improbable that they will allow us to remain? It is improbable that they will allow us to return unharmed. Faust is right. She and Hohenheim are geniuses, and Ryoshi is the wielder of Arayashiki. Don Quixote is a kindred of a higher generation, and I happen to house a golden bow in my head. I have no idea how much information the ring has on us, but even if they knew nothing, they wouldn't let us go easily. Are you sure about this, Ryoshi? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if I'm SAT or not, Clock. Think of that woman as Lei Hang and do as you did in Heathcliff's mansion. I'll take care of the rest. Alright, that's probably your best shot. What Ryoshi meant was quite clear. Resonate with the golden bow, secure an advantage to fight on equal footing, then catch them off guard by slowing down the flow of time. A cut from the Arayashiki, even if it doesn't give us a real fighting chance, might at least stall the Maestro long enough to give us the time to get away. This floor of the exhibit only houses submissions from students and docents. But if you look closely enough, there are some passable ones that show the promise of excellence. And above all, this is the gallery of the School of Fauvism. And mine, the gallery of Emile Benoit. Which is why I would have preferred to take you without an unnecessary fight if possible. A shame. Lei Hing, even if I only saw glimpses from little bro, he's a menace. He is a menace, and unnerved, he was awful to fight. Still, we're talking about a unique relic here. A masterless one at that. Acquiring the Arayashiki makes it worth the cost. If you want a taste. Confusion flickered across Ryoshi's face as she tried to unsheath her blade. What's the matter? Ow. The lock the spiders used to bind the Arayashiki no longer exists, so why? Why can't I draw the blade? Now that's unexpected. So the rumors of you mastering that relic, were they false? The Maestro only gave a loose swing of her arm, but it was enough to make Ryoshi recoil. A shadow of surprise crossed her face. You can't even beat him, and now you can't. It's so true. The wound looked like nothing more than a light gash, yet the Maestro's contemplative gaze shifted between the blood of Ryoshi's arm and her own, as though the attack had been an experiment to prove a hypothesis. It wasn't hard to guess what she was thinking. Notice, did you? I had my doubts from the moment I saw you today. Was the House of Spiders a success or a failure? Tell me, Yoshihide, what do you think a serpent's defining strength is? What are you on about now? Ask any student and they'll give the same predictable answers. The deadly venom, the sleek scales. Why, it's lamentably disappointing. The Maestro advanced toward us with an assured certainty, then seized a beige thread dangling from the ceiling. No, calling it a mere thread would be wrong. It was something that resembled a thread, yet felt much more disturbing. I, for one, have a particular liking for the jaw and spine. The flexibility of the spine, linked like a chain, and the jaw, bound not by bone but by ligaments that allow the animal to swallow its prey whole. Perhaps I should have said that I admire their structural refinement. The thrice-coiled ring on her finger gave off a cold glint, and the walls and the ceiling suddenly began to echo with the sickening squelch and crack of flesh and bones assembling. What the hell is that? Which brings me to ask, what better way to claim this delivery of promising material with a single bite than a work of art fashioned from a snake? The maestro plunged her arm into the long serpentine body of a monster. Her sheer presence radiated a pressure as oppressive as that of the nurse father's, only more primal and untempered. Consider it a privilege. This is the first time this piece has ever been exhibited to an outsider. Hohenheim, is the lockdown sequence still not ready? 1 minute to go. Step aside. The attack from the ego gear Hohenheim hastily brandished hadn't even lasted a moment. The weapon was knocked from his hand. Jeez. As I scrambled to equip the sinners with their identities, something abruptly stopped the beast-like appendage midway through its hurtling motion. And the one who intercepted the blow was Kira. Shit. Was Kira, struggling to push back against the serpentine arm with her still-sealed blades. Kira? Did she suddenly have a change of heart that I wasn't aware of? Shit, this wasn't the plan at all. Obviously not, she couldn't have changed her mind that quickly. Because the look on her face couldn't be anything other than that of utter regret. The middle? For someone who doesn't seem to be a proper member, you've inked quite the quantity of tattoos onto yourself. You must be the new kit Matthias took in. Why do you stand in my way? Fucked fine now, I'm already regretting it, alright? Damn it, they're definitely gonna dish me here. Why did I even... Must be instinct taking over. Couldn't fully shake off the opponent's killing intent, so the body chose to clash head-on. So the behavioral facet of the psyche can be controlled with suitable training. Unexpected data, but useful to be sure. Shut it, mister! Quit yapping and let me use my blades! Authorized and ready. Lifting locks now. Kira's thermal weapons emerged from their sheaths with a metallic clang. She used the recoil of the motion to skid back and assume a defensive stance. Naturally, that broke Benoit's arm from the deadlock as well. The maestro lashed out again with the monstrous limb, but... Tis a foul injustice to strike against an unprepared opponent in a duel. Behold, for I shall allow thee a glimpse of the badass form that only the most renowned of fixers have displayed through the ages. Seeing an opening, Don Quixote slammed into the arm with her full might, knocking it off its trajectory. Good job, Don Quixote. Protect your new girlfriend. When I first met you, I thought your surname was actually Wolf. Incredible. But no, it's just Wolf. It's just there because I like wolves. And also Molly W. kinda sounds cute. Predictably, however, the sheer force of the maestro's attack instantly reduced her to a red sludge of flesh and bone, sending her remains crashing into the door. Ready to initiate lockdown sequence, I will seal the door immediately upon your exit. Everyone to the door. Faust, retrieve the organic remnants of Sinner 3. As Faust made her exit with what was once Don Quixote's cheese, the students of the ring surrounded Kira, barring her way out. A hollow chuckle slipped out of her lips. Called it for real. This is exactly why I didn't want to get involved. Taking Kira back with us would mean having a sizable force of the ring trail right behind her through the door. Kira, too, seemed to realize the risk that no one in their right mind would want to take. She lowered her head in defeat, as though she knew full well the fate that awaited her. I'm such a dumbass. What was I thinking, diving in like that? Aw. It's okay, Kira. You were just doing your best. Instinctively. Don't you just stand there. Get over here now. But these guys are gonna come flooding in if I... You talk too much. I'm gonna get cleaved in half again. You pin this on me later, you're gonna pay. Blocking the maestro's arm by hair as it came down on her again, Kira hurled herself toward the door with every bit of strength she could muster. Good job, Kira, actually. More than a few students rushed in through the doorway, chasing after the sinners who had gone in ahead, but... Lockdown sequence complete. All backdoor links have been cut. Fortunately, Alan managed to sever the connection between the two backdoors before the maestro could cross over. Bowl cut. Think you can still use your arms? I'm fine. So she says. Kira would be a strong enough addition to fight for us, but the ring members that have managed to cross formed a rather sizable force. Fighting them off with just the sinners I have on my side would not be the best course of action. In that case... Guys, I assume you're all available right now. As soon as I call out to the sinners, their voices come through Hohenheim's radio, one after another. Huh? I guess so. Ready for your order, Executive Manager. Of course you're gonna brown nose. I, Otis, am prepared to answer your call whenever and wherever. Hang on, I just need to finish this bite. Everyone to me. We are family. They're actually coming to my aid when I ask it. Oh, good, Monolith. Okay, at the very least, you only have one red coin. We also do sinking and bleed. Interesting. It's gonna be annoying. Oh, they do have stuff to say. Le favisme masque de chien. I showed a friend of mine the Sinners, and he liked Otis and Honglu for a little bit. What do you mean for a little bit? The first step is always but a single animal, and with every quest for art and fairity, another beast is layered atop the previous specimen. Masque de chevre rebelle. There are beasts that fall in and out of vogue with the school of Fauvism, yes, but a true artist must take fierce pride in that single animal as the underdrawing which best represents their unique self. Despite this wisdom, however, there are some who flit from beast to beast, as though the self is nothing more than a costume to be worn and discarded. He thought Honglu was a girl and thought he was cute? Aw. That's honestly fair. Jeez. Well, good luck, Faust. Oh, heck yeah, we actually get to fight with Kira? Nice. She's already going crazy. Wait, Faust, you're actually gonna win? Nope. Honestly, just getting one coin victory, that was more than I expected. I even sent him seeing pass on, he still thought he was a girl, jeez. And still thought he was a girl. That's incredible, honestly. Especially after hearing the voice. And then I don't have it. I probably should have done the sloth. Okay, at least you're not staggered. Good job, Heathcliff. Yi-Song, just go crazy. Honestly, who needs to make a team that actually accomplishes something when you can just use good identities? With very little synergy between them. Oh, I should have actually put the Faust on. Dang it. I then told him the truth and crashed out. Synergy. I didn't mean it like that. But I forgot, I actually do have fascia, Faust. Good job, Hulu. Get headshot over there. Jeez. Don, I like your cut G decapitates. I will turn audio down, I think, for the fighting at the very least. Honglu just casually killing, or not Honglu, Yi Song just casually killing someone in the back there. Ishmael not casually, making it a big deal in her kill. Alright, Heathcliff is almost done here. So let's use this thing and just absolutely kill them. Because, like, no way this doesn't at the very least stagger. Yep, got the stagger, not the kill. Go crazy, Don. Kill, 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 kill. Dang. Insane damage, though. Good job, team. We did it. Crazy Don is an oxymoron. So true. It's only the first door, and the impediments are already beyond expected levels. I swear I thought that was it for me back there. Events of this nature won't be frequent. We were merely beset by ill luck. If you just listened to me and picked another door, we wouldn't have gotten cooked like that in the first place. Like, why even drag me into this if you weren't gonna trust me? Weirdos. We would have opened them all at the end of the day, SD. SD, what's that? Same difference. Again, why shorten it like that? Just say duh or something. Or just spell it out and say it was anticipated. That's WA. Good work, everyone. Wayfarer does have a team dedicated to this sort of task, but the mortality rate is quite high. Honestly, I was bracing myself for the worst. The odds of completing the first door of an expedition without any casualties are under 15%. This, by all measures, counts as a flawless expedition. Incredible. Tapping away at his device, Alan addressed us with an amicable smile. He seemed totally different from the same man who had manhandled Kara with a fist to her face. Those Falvists won't be able to cross over anymore with the door completely locked down, right? That cannot be asserted with certainty. Are you saying more might come? The corridors and back doors have always been the ring's turf clock, and those Falvist beasts have endured as a long-standing faction within the ring. If they've got that much history, they must know many back doors, both the origin and destination points. Alan clarified what Ryoshi was hinting at. Yes, compared to them, we lack sufficient knowledge of alternate routes, which makes it difficult to prevent infiltration. No need to concern yourselves over much. Even if that were the case, it is unlikely they would move on the House of Spiders so soon. They can always rush for a surprise attack, though. Even that Falvist Maestro seemed to like clear intel on the event that took place at the House of Spiders. If so, it follows that they will need time to assess and deliberate about the situation. The situation? The logical scope of their concerns will be identifying the organization that has secured the House of Spiders, the possibility of additional traps beyond the back doors, and the like. Once all backdoor-related procedures tied to the House of Spiders are completed, the resulting security framework should be able to preempt and block any infiltration attempts. This operation is more important than I thought. That aside, why couldn't I draw the blade? Is it the new scabbard's fault? Ryoshi lifted the sheathed sword with an irritated frown, and that's when I felt a faint vibration. The blade was twitching ever so slightly. That quivering most faint, 'twas seen by all indeed. Damn, I saw it too. Was it possessed or something? Looks like I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one who saw the sword twitching as though it wasn't pleased at all with how Ryoshi was talking about the scabbard. Aw, poor Araya. She doesn't want to be drawn yet. Ryoshi's gaze lingered on the sword before slowly shifting toward the back doors. Could it be that seeing the scabbard brought back some memory of Araya? Ryoshi, do you... Is it an SS? A demon edge? An enchanted blade? Which is it? It's probably neither of those. Nor is it a sentient sword. This prevents a fine opportunity to conduct another examination of the sword. Excuse us for a moment, Team Leader Allen. Please feel free to go ahead. The attack just now damaged some devices, so we're going to have to perform some maintenance before continuing. There's plenty of other work for me to do while you're away, too. Are we to return to the headquarters research facility, then? No, that won't be necessary. There's a facility here that should prove more than adequate. Hooray, we get to see that Ryoshi can't just pull out this overpowered sword at her every whim. Relics and the sign. Cool. We're gonna see the Sinclair end of things. Hohenheim brought us to what looked like a research lab, lined with cables, rows of screens, and diagrams full of complex symbols and shapes. I didn't know there was a place like this in the House of Spiders. This is a forward base constructed by Limbus Company following Operation Spider Pyre. It did not exist prior to the house's fall. It is intended for additional backdoor investigation and research into regular phenomena observed during the operation. Molly, which non-sinner would you smash? If I counted all sinners, you would say all the women. That's where you're wrong, bucko, because I would not smash Otis. But if we are talking the non-sinner women, I would... Honestly, Nellie's probably up there. Who else is on? Valentina, she's basically Roja-coded. Except would also abuse me, which is fine. I don't mind being abused by her at all. Honestly, maybe Ezra. Ezra is actually, like, pretty attractive. Even if she also kind of comes off as, like, a much older woman. I think she's pretty fine. In both design and character for her. A brown nose, ew. Yes. I also wouldn't do Don Quixote if I had to. Abuse, thank you. Irregular phenomena? An example. Research subjects such as a spatial analysis of the correlation between the emergence of Sinner 11 sign and the manifestation of a possible future. Oh. Oh, also, yes, Cromer. Definitely would smash Cromer. She is completely based. Your type is Rojan. Yes, my type is Rojan. Looking around, I spotted Sinclair and a group of researchers surrounding him, the same people who had dragged him off earlier. They were accompanied by a gaggle of sinners who had tagged along to either watch the show or kill some time while he took a breather after work. Hohenheim, how long will the examination take? Well, Sinclair's biometric assessment concluded, the analyzer device should be available for the relic now. Which means that it should be finished in an hour from now at the latest. The scabbard rattled again at the mention of an hour. I don't know why or how, but the way it swayed almost felt like a child trembling. It's moving again. Come along, Ryoshu. I expect you will want to witness the procedure. Fine. Ryoshu and Hohenheim headed off to the side. The examination was probably going to start immediately. Time to get to Sinclair, then. Wait. I was making my way downtown towards Sinclair, who was getting bombarded with questions, when an unexpected figure behind a pillar caught my eye. Yo, Vespa! Vespa Crabro, with a piece of paper covered in crooked handwriting taped on his back. Snack? Alright, Rojo, what the heck happened? Manager. Oh, Karen, interesting. Karen snacks. Mr. Stringbing ate up all of them. Sorry, but I think there's been some misunderstanding. Vern should kick his ass. Incredible. Not only is this matter not worth pointing fingers over, but Karen also shares some of the responsibility for leaving them out on the table unattended. Still, I would prefer you exercise more care next time, or you'll put me in a tough spot. Understood. Get on. Karen, super silky mode engaged, not talking for half a day. Deploying super pass bitter candy. Beep beep, mode disabled. I'm not sure if this is an appropriate request, but may I remove the paper from my back now? It's a little inconvenient for me. Karen forgives this time. Next time, no mercy. Best make sure she doesn't listen to that radio channel again. Thank you, Automon, because I cannot stand bots like that. Because screw any bot that's like, hey, yo, you want viewers? Why don't you just pay $100 an hour or some shit like that? Because I cannot stand that kind of stuff. Even though I have, like, little to no viewers, I still appreciate all of you guys that actually do come. And I don't want to just throw it away for something quick. And that does include the apparent 5 views on YouTube. Not sure who's doing that, or if that's just, like, counting all of them from, like, only Matt. Virgilius looked on with an inscrutable expression as Karen peeled the snack thief sign off Vespa's back. Make sure to remember this, so I don't have to think I'm burning through what little candy chance I have left on such trivial nonsense. Thank you. Vespa gave a polite thanks, but he was already picking something off another plate and stuffing it into his mouth. Jeez, Vespa. Wait a minute, I was saving that for later. I assumed you were being picky. Well, now you know, yet I still see you gobbling up my share. They took my snack too, Verge. Kick his ass. Rojan Romanovich. They can suck an egg. So true. I am aware that half of the total snack budget allocated to each center is being funneled into your snacking expenses, and now you're raiding the LCE supplies as well. chill. That tote's been agreed upon, okay? Besides, that's that and this is this. The lines on Virgilius' brow looked deeper than usual today. Poor Virg. Hoping to help him out of this endless cycle of snack-related headaches and to satisfy my own nagging curiosity, I drew near our guide and broke his brooding silence with my TikToks. Did we learn anything about Sinclair's sign? Dante's inquiring about the outcome of the research on the sign. I've heard from the researchers, but nothing of particular significance came out of it. Roland. Observation of the sign has so far been limited to 2 individuals, the manager and Sinclair. Due to the limited accessibility to the phenomenon, the only verifiable information has so far been its existence. Researching that which cannot be observed is bound to be difficult. Faust has a point. Aside from Sinclair, none of the sinners can actually see the sign. And the same would go for the researchers. Even Sonia said only a select few people could perceive it. If there were more individuals bearing signs, there would be a wider pool for comparative analysis of statistical samples to narrow down the scope. However, records indicate no suitable references exist. At present, the research effort is limited to reducing variables such as whether or not the irregular phenomena are tied to the location where the battle took place. By individuals bearing signs, do you mean people like Demian and Samson? Wait, then could those guys do what Sinclair did? Pull in some superpowered future self and just wreck everything? Even Sonia? I should step in and put an end to this subject before Roja gets the blues. I don't think so. From what Ishmael and Faust reported back then... Right, Sinclair from the future said each sign carries a different power, I think. Maybe, those layers of light rings Demian used to finish off Cromer, or Sanson dragging us into his story, and those could be it. Well, I think the light ring was just all the Ming, and sorry, Don Quixote, to cut you off. That doth seem plausible. So none of this is information we can confirm yet. Correct. As you have stated, any discussion of this subject would not venture beyond the realm of wild speculation. Nothing has been proven yet. Ergo, fear would be an unnecessary response at present. This is, at best, grounded in supposition, but it would seem that the researchers are coaxing forth a hypothesis from the vestiges left in the wake of Sinclair's future self. Oh, that bit about the sign maybe doing some singularity or whatever, yeah? The precise precision... yeah. Cannot speak right now, too EP. The precise position of the hypothesis was that the fundamental principles of the signs working may be equivalent to those of singularities or relics. But as no actionable evidence was obtained from Sinclair, there is presently no means by which this hypothesis may be validated. I see. Then nothing came out of them dragging Sinclair off for that research. Oh, you also thought I was being dragged off, but still let it happen anyway? No, I mean... I'm kidding. Just thought I'd try going along with the mood. The old Sinclair wouldn't have even thought to joke around like that. He's really changed lately. For the better, I think. So, did anything happen that we should worry about? I stuck close to him just in case. Nothing serious came up. Just took some blood, a small skin sample. Oh, and they were also checking if the sign reacts to electrical stimulation. Yeah, and, I had to fill out some questionnaires, too. Things like, please describe what you remember from the battle exactly as it happened, or list the sensations you felt when you regained consciousness. Incredible questions. And your memories of that moment have yet to return? No, I don't know if they'll ever come back, actually. Faust said they only exist with my future self, so... Wait, but for my future self to even have those memories, shouldn't I carry them in the first place? Which comes first? A paradox, it would seem. In such a case, that Sinclair is merely one branch among many possible futures. If the future unfurls into boundless branches by means of ceaseless bifurcation, then the body of information that constitutes a certain future would scatter into grains more fleeting than dust, too diminished to ever reverse their course and trace their path back to the self that now exists. Is that the theory suggested? Not a certainty, but a plausible interpretation. Here you go again. More of that nonsense only you lot understand. Poor Heathcliff. Oi, memory or not, that future guy still came out of him, didn't he? Then some part of him's got to be left in there somewhere, yeah? Like muscle memory or whatever. Perhaps he can still pull off some of those tricks from back then. Tricks from back then? Heard you kicked off proper out there. Even put out that trick you picked up from that plastered old geezer, right? Not just that, he was using that Meng technique quite effortlessly too. What? The glowing ring thing? Yep, the glowing ring thing. He had 2 of them caught around his weapon. I used the glowing ring thing? Yeah, screw calling it its proper name. It's just the glowing ring thing now. This is the first time I'm hearing anything about it. Alright, so what exactly is that glowing ring thing? Anyone? Maybe some technique that enhances physical capability? I mean, I guess that flashy aura that makes your real tough's one part of it, but there's gotta be more, right? Dunno. Could be a secret finger thing they passed down to their memories. Technique, gear, something like that. Look at it. That Bart Coney leader, that Lehang prick, and the nurse fathers we fought. Whole lot of them's fingers, ain't they? The notion seems to unravel, for even among the LCD, there are those who came to wield it. And for Jellies, too. So what? Only the proper hard bastards can use it? Some posh top-end trick, is it? Without anyone in particular prompting it, the sinners slowly turned their gaze toward Virgilius and Vespa. I only learned to wield it from my team leader, too. I have a sensory understanding of Shin, but I can claim nothing too profound. However, what I can spare are some rumors, though they are all without proper sources. Meng? I'm an Englishman. You expect me to know all this Chinese nonsense? So true. They circulated among elite fixers and association leadership. That there exists a power called Shin, capable of enhancing the body without having to pay expensive upkeep costs. A rumor among fixers, sayest thou? Yes, even the technique to manifest it, how to tips, really, spread through hearsay. Oh yeah, that tracks. That super rookie column in the latest Mag bonus vid, bro was really popping off with it. Straight up aura-formed with the shiny Meng ring wrapped around the weapon. It must be that mine answer gets to be privy to such a marveling video. Wait, you serious? It's in the latest issue. Literally on the videotape in the back. Maybe you missed it? Videotape? Alas, for many a week have I been stranded from Mephi, relieving me of a chance to not read only the prior chronicle, but the latest one as well. Aww. There, Don. Woe is me. When I return, I shall feast through the night upon those noble exploits of adventuring fixers. As Don Quixote dramatically spiraled into a state of utter dejection, Otis cut into the conversation, her gaze narrowing with suspicion. From what I recall, the Mantle of Shin grants its users a high degree of physical enhancement. There is no such thing as reinforcement without supplies. No power of that magnitude comes without an equivalent cost to wield it. That power relies on emotion and will for manifestation. Its output is not consistent like prosthesis and augmentation. And depending on how it is used, the consequence it demands can reach levels comparable to the ego you use. You mean to say that it exacts a toll upon the mind? I can walk you through the fundamentals if you'd like. From what I observed, it appeared to be a technique reserved for those of considerable strength. At our current level, is it not unreasonable to assume we could make use of it? Regarding that, our team leader has been conducting intensive research, and according to her, physical strength itself has little bearing on one's ability to learn and wield Shin. As the Yellow Harpoon says, it is, in essence, a power that can be learned by almost anyone, provided they know the proper method of training. Okay, cool, so it's just like Ki from Dragon Ball. We all have it, we all can use it, but we have to master it to be able to use it. And from what it sounds, it's like you have to feel it as well. It's not just something anybody can do, but something you have to train like mind, body, and spirit for. Vespa's brows visibly twitched the moment Yellow Harpoon left Virgilius' lips. Yeah, doesn't seem like he's a big fan of his own title. The Yellow Harpoon, Well, it fits, I think. He's got those yellow stripes on his clothes, and he uses a harpoon too. Can he argue with that? If I were to exaggerate, even Senator Yisong's pre-contract self could manage to learn. Jeez! The weakest one of the group can do it? That's insane. You have to learn it, Yisong. Why must this self of mine be chosen as the point of comparison? Well, because you're the wimpiest one here. Don't let it get to you. Ugh. Even so, it would be a mistake to assume it's a power anyone can grasp with ease. As long as you are bound by contract as sinners, your ability to wield it will be severely limited. Unless you rely on particular identities or come upon an extraordinary circumstance. Shame that. Would have been useful. Yeah, then what about me? Can I learn it too? Kira, who had been fidgeting with her fingers, raised an arm and asked as though she couldn't hold the question back any longer. Come to think of it, the middle nurse father didn't use any Shinnerming. Papa never taught me how to use it. He always said I could get stronger without a stupid crutch like that. It wasn't that he didn't teach you, he couldn't. He was a man who probably had never once reflected upon his own sins. A piece of trash like him would be incapable of even comprehending such a power in the first place. Jeez, Vespa. That was cold. And honestly, really cool. Vespa's responses always come back dripping with venomous hatred whenever the conversation turns to the topic of the fingers. Kira must have noticed too, or perhaps she simply couldn't find the right words to push back. Either way, she held her tongue, her expression settling into a blend of frustration and something that looked a little too close to sadness. Aww. If you want to reduce it to a yes or no, then yes, you will be able to learn it with the odds in your favor. That is, assuming that the company decides to tolerate your continued existence. I already said I get it. As it stands, you're nothing more than a pending case of disposal, closer to a threat than you are to an ally, strictly speaking. Don't get comfortable because the manager and the sinners treat you with lenience. Step out of line, and you will be the one who pays the price. There was nothing in what Virgilius said that I could argue with. Kara had been a member of the House of Spiders. She murdered scores of LCE researchers, and left us with plenty of memories we'd rather not revisit. For now, we're just working together. Not contesting that decision doesn't mean we have no hard feelings toward her. Leaving Kira alone with her thoughts, the sinners slipped back into their own business. Snacks, idle chatter, and the conversations about whatever had happened around LCE. The examination is concluded. I suppose it won't be an issue to let you hear the results together. And before we knew it, Hohenheim and Ryoshi returned. And that will have to be for another day, I think. Because I'm getting eepy. So I'm just gonna eat up my encaphlin, switch back over. Welp. Yeah, sorry to say, Kai, but again, I'm just getting a bit eepy. It's like it's past 1. I could go further, but my body isn't also feeling all that well at the moment. Particularly, I think, because of the Sprite, I had to fix my blood sugar. But, nah, sleep. Alright. But, thank you everyone for showing up still. It was honestly really fun to stream again. Just being able to do this is filling my spirit once more. And hopefully I can actually, do more streams and not just keep putting them off, because I really like this kind of interaction. Peace, Molly. Peace, Kai. Have a good night, or a good day. So, hope you all sleep well, whatnot. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.